Today here I'm going to discuss very basic part of optics, reflection. As you know, the reflection, when a light ray strikes the boundary of two medium such as air and glass, a part of light is turned back into the same medium. This is called reflection of light. And here the terminology related to this reflection, one is incident ray, second one is reflected ray, third one is point of incidence, fourth one is normal drawn to the reflecting surface at the point of incidence, fifth one is angle of incidence, sixth one is angle of reflection. So using this terminology, considering this all terminologies are known better for us earlier, so I'm going straight away with the laws of reflection. Quickly, let me introduce the terminology. This is the incident ray, and this is the reflected ray, and this is the point of incidence. This I is the angle of incidence, which is nothing but angle between the incident ray and to this normal. This is the normal drawn to this surface of reflection at the point of incidence. Then this R is angle of reflection, which is the angle between the reflected ray and the normal drawn at the point of incidence. So with this knowledge, let me go with the remaining part of law reflection. So here the first law of reflection is as follows. The angle of incidence. This is angle of incidence and it is equal to the angle of reflection. This is the angle of reflection. What does it mean? It means angle of I is equal to angle of I is equal to angle of R. So normally we can denote small letters for angle of incidence and angle of reflection. Okay. Second part of the laws of reflection is the incident ray, the reflecting ray, and the normal drawn to the reflecting surface at the point of incident lie in the same plane. One is incident ray, reflecting ray, and the normal. See, let me show you the three things here. One is incident ray, this is incident ray, and this is reflected ray, and this is the normal. These three will be there in a single plane. Let me show you the plane which is contained by this incident ray, normal, and reflected ray. See, this is the plane in which incident ray, reflected ray, and normal will be present. If at all the incident ray is a different one than this, and accordingly, the second law says reflected ray will change its direction such that second law is valid. That means the reflected ray will reflect such that incident ray, reflected ray, and the normal will be in the same plane. Now let me discuss about the types of reflection. There are two types of reflection. One is regular reflection. The other one is diffused reflection. We'll discuss one after one. First type of reflection is regular reflection. In this reflection, the reflection occurs from a perfect, smooth, plane surface. See, here in the diagram, when you see See, this is the perfect smooth plane surface. Here, this is one, two, three. Three incident light rays that are coming such that they are parallel to each other. One, two, three. And they're coming, this is a parallel beam coming and falling on this perfect smooth surface. So this is the normal drawn at this point and the here at respective point of incidence. And these two, one, two, three, these three are reflected light rays derived from this incident light ray. After reflection, again they are plane parallel to each other. So a plane beam of light, once if it is incident on a perfect smooth plane surface, regular reflection occurs such that the reflected light beam also will be parallel beam of light. See what happens in case of regular reflection. The reflected light ray has large intensity in one direction. See, in what a particular direction, the reflected light ray will reflect with large intensity, and remaining all other directions, the intensity which is reflected is very, very small. And this helps you to determine the properties of mirror. Once, if the reflection is good enough in certain proper or only one direction, then the mirror will be useful for producing proper images. So other type of reflection is diffused reflection. Normally, this occurs from the rough reflecting surface. If at all the parallel beam of light incidents, so it scatters, it reflects into random directions in different directions. This happens because of see every time when you see this is the normal at this point of incidence, and this is normal at this point of incidence, and this is normal at the point of incidence. They are not parallel to each other. So to see that the second law of reflection is valid and the first law of reflection is also valid, they must scatter into different directions. There is no other option. So with this we can understand the diffused scattering of reflection. See here, this is useful to see the objects which are not which are non-luminous. So let us go with some important points related to reflection. See, one important thing is loss of reflection is not only limited to a certain case, it is universal. So this is valid for all reflecting surfaces, whether it may be plane or curved. For example, see this is the plane surface and this is the point of incidence and this could be the normal. So this angle of incidence and the angle of reflection must be equal here. So it is again this three incident ray, normal, and this reflected ray. These three will be in the same plane. So if you change the surface, a curved surface, normally here the reflection is from a convex surface. Similar how it followed last. Similarly, it will follow the last year also. For example, this is a convex surface. The reflection occurs from the convex side, and here reflection occurs from concave side. In any one of these three cases, laws of reflection are valid. There is no doubt. So it is strictly followed by in all cases. Here there is a case of normal incidence. That means on a reflecting surface, if a light ray is incident normally, that means along the normal, then what happens to this? After reflection, it retraces its path. That means in what direction it is coming and falling, and this is again normal only at this point of incidence. Then it will again retraces along the same path. So here what happens? Angle of incidence is now it is equal to 0. Similarly, angle of incidence equal to 0. This is the angle made by the incident light with the normal. So it again retraces, that means along the normal. The angle between normal to the reflected ray will be 0 again. Angle of incident light, angle of reflection light is 0. So it's like a ball which is bounced back. This is the case even with the normal instance of light ray. Whenever the reflected light reflects, it deviates its original path. In such case, what will be the deviation? How much it will be? If you want to see that, let us go with this. See, this is the incident light. This is supposed to go this way. But here, at this point of incidence, it reflected like this. This is angle of incidence. And actually, this is angle of reflection, which is also equal to angle of incidence. And see, the light is supposed to go this way, but it reflected this way. See, this is the amount of deviation in terms of its angle of deviation. We call it as, normally we say it as delta. In this case, how to calculate this angle of deviation? See here the diagram, this entire angle is equal to 180 degrees or pi radians. This one. Now, if at all, if you want to calculate the angle of deviation, delta, delta is the angle of deviation. So you have to subtract this angle plus this angle. This is actually I. This is also equal to I only, according to laws of reflection. Then total angle is 2I. This angle is pi. So pi radians minus 2 times of angle of incidence. This way you can calculate, this way you can calculate the angle of deviation. For normal incidence, what is the angle of deviation? We know that for normal incidence, angle of I is equal to 0. So angle of I is equal to 0. So delta will be maximum because I is 0. Delta is maximum. How much it will be? It is equal to pi minus 2I. Pi minus 2I. I is 0. So equal to pi, or otherwise 180 degrees. So this is the way you can understand that angle of deviation will be maximum when the incident angle is normally incident. See, there is a specific case here. In this is the plane surface or plane mirror, and this is a normal incidence. The incident ray, this is incident ray, and the reflected ray retraces back. Then what we did, I just rotated this plane mirror into some angle theta like this, such that this is actually position of plane mirror. This is actual position of plane method. It is rotated through some angle, but by keeping this incident ray fixed. So when you see this reflected ray will change its orientation. Like, actually, it is retreated back, but here it is not such case. It will come with a different direction. So with how much angle it is rotated, that is the question. See, look into the question. Look into the diagram. See, if at all, in this case, the mirror is rotated through anti-clock direction with an angle theta. Immediately, the normal drawn at that point of incidence also rotates by theta angle. So, to follow the laws of reflection, the incident ray should reflect such that the angle made by the reflected ray and the normal must be equal to the angle of incidence. Here, the normal and incident light are making theta angle to each other. Similarly, the normal and the reflected ray must have the same angle of equal to that theta. That's why the reflected ray will rotate through an angle 2 theta that was shown in the diagram. We have most general daily life example, plane mirror. So from the plane mirror, if you want to study the characteristics of reflection, so we'll quickly go through those properties. Image is upright, and here the size of the image always equal to the size of the object. The distance of image from the plane mirror is equal to the distance of object from the mirror. What is at what distance the object lies from the plane mirror, and the distance between image and the mirror also will be the same. So from these properties, again, we can just extend the discussion. See, this is a point object. How to draw the, how to obtain the images by using ray optics, using rays. See, this is a one incident light, and this is another incident light, and this is the normal incidence. You just follow the laws of reflection to get the reflected one. And for this normal incidence, again, it retraces path. And the third light after reflection, following laws of reflection, it retraces path. Now this one, and this one, you extend. See, it was shown in the blue dotted lines. If you extend, that will touch that intersect at one point. That is called image of the object. Let us try to how to get the image for an extended object. See, here we have seen for point object. This is the point object. This is the image related to the point object. And again, the distance between this mirror and this object equal to the distance between this mirror and the image. See here, let us extend to the extended object. AB is like a tree or a man. A is referred to head. B is referred to foot of the person. Image is upright means, again you can see the image here. Head of the person will be here, and foot of the person here only. See how to draw the, how to obtain this image of this person using ray optics. See, the two light rays considered here. One is from the head, one is incident normally on the mirror, reflected back. And if you extend that, this is the blue dotted line. It will continue like this, and this is another light ray just coming and falling at certain point. Okay, then after following laws of reflection, it follows this path, and if you extend that, that intersects here, that represents the head of this person. And see, if you draw a line here, this represents the image of the person. So this way you can draw the images using ray optics for point object. in front of plane mirror and also extended object in front of a plane mirror. In case if a real object is placed in front of a plane mirror, it forms an image which is virtual behind the mirror. You can't capture the image on the screen in this case of real object, and vice versa is like this. If you have virtual object, you'll get a real image. And being the image distance and object distance are equal, and if you draw a graph that will be a straight line passing through origin will be like, is the image distance and object distance both are equal to 0, that means you are there at the mirror, and if you move away from the mirror, as u extends, v also extends such that it is a linear relation, and also the slope will be 1, or the angle made by the graph with the u axis will be 45 degrees. Tan of 45 degrees is equal to 1, so that slope of that will be 1. It is also represents with a parameter called linear magnification. We'll discuss that within a moment. We know that size of the image is equal to the size of the object, and also the graph, of course, it was drawn between object distance and image distance, but these distances are indirectly related to the sizes of the image and the object, so you can interrelate with these two. Here there is one parameter called linear magnification, how much image magnifies with respect to image object. So it is a ratio of image height to the object height, and this is possible for all cases, but here for plane mirror its value is equal to 1. We know that image height is equal to object height. That's why the ratio between them will lead to 1. So the linear magnification of a plane mirror will be 1. Now we'll see a different kind of situation. Often we'll observe this case. If two plane mirrors are inclined to each other by making some angle, you will observe a multiple number of images. But how many such number of images will be formed? See, this kind of uh, thing we will see in certain sweet shops or in some decoratory shops, and also with some saloon beauty parlors. You will see this kind of situation. If at all, if the plane mirrors are parallel to each other, those two will form an infinite number of images. But of course, you can observe only few images only, because after reflection, the image formed will be having very less intensity, so that you may not observe. But theoretically, such case will form an infinite number of images if at all the two plane mirrors are parallel to each other. We'll go with the different cases here. How to get, theoretically, how to get a number of images. We'll have certain procedure. Let us go with that. For all the cases, let us imagine the angle of inclination is theta, and here if you see the first case, 360 by theta, if it is even number, then let us say 360 by theta you called as m. So m minus will be the number of images, and here object can be placed at any point in between the inclined plane mirrors. For example, see, this is the case, plane mirror 1, and this is another plane mirror, and this is angle of inclination, let us say 60 degrees. Here theta is equal to 60 degrees. theta is equal to 60 degrees. Now just find m value. M is nothing but 360 by theta. 360 by theta is 60. So what you will get? You'll get an even number. 360 by 60 is 6. You're not getting here an odd number. If you get odd number, that leads to a different case. Here you got even number. So straight away, the number of images, the number of images is nothing but m minus 1 is nothing but m minus 1. So how to use this m minus 1? Only when 360 by 60 is, if you get even, this is the number of images will be m minus 1. That means 6 minus 1, that equal to number of images will be 5. So this is the case. You can go with any number of such. If at all 360 by theta, if you get even, subtract 1 from that, you will get the number of images. So let's go with the other situation, where see there is one more specific case. If at all theta is the angle of inclination, but it is some value, but once if you find 360 by theta, if you get some odd number, okay, again you have to check the object is not on the bisector. Okay, not on the bisector. Okay, so you have to check this point first, for then only you can decide the number of images, how many it will be. Not on the bisector. So let us go with one small observation here. See, this is plane mirror, and this is another plane mirror. The angle between them is 72 degrees. 72 degrees. So in this case, when you find 360 by theta, it is 360 by 72. So it will give you 5, which is nothing but odd here. This is odd. Immediately you have to check whether this uh, object is not situated on the bisector. Bisector means what? If you make exactly the bisecting line here, this is 36, this is set to 36 degrees. If object is here, that is symmetric case, is on that bisector. If at all object is here or here somewhere, this is not the case, these two cases, then straight away let it be, this is m is equal to the number of images, m is equal to m only, means here 5. Okay, here you be careful with this. You have to see whether 360 degrees by theta is odd. If it is even, whatever the position of the object, it is m minus 1 only. If at all 360 by theta is odd, you have to check for two cases. It is there on the bisector or not. If at all it is not there on the bisector, then the whichever you got 360 by theta is the number of images. Then we'll see the next case whenever the object is on the bisector of the mirrors. In this case, if at all 360 by theta is an odd number, but but object is on the bisector of the mirrors. See, let me go with the diagram. See, these are the two plane mirrors. One, two. This is the bisecting line. The object is here, exactly on the bisecting line. Then, if at all 360 by theta is odd, 360 by theta, if it is odd, then m minus 1 will be the number of images. See, in such case, for example, again go with the 72 degrees. If this angle is 72 degrees, then m 360 by 72 will give you 5. But here the object is on bisecting line, so m minus 1 will be the number of images. So 5 minus 1, only 4 images will be formed. This is the important thing you have to take care. If at all 360 by theta is a fraction, so let us say some m, the number of images formed equal to integer part of m. That means, let us go with one example. That is a better idea. Theta is equal to, let us say, 50 degrees. So in this case, if you find 360 by theta, okay, let us say this is m equal to 360 by 50. So this gives you 7.2. So its integer part of m will be written like this. It means integer part means only integer. So in 7.2, integer part is 7. So number of images formed will be 7. So this point 2 you should ignore, because the complete image is not formed. It 7 images completely formed. So it is about to form 8th image, but it couldn't form the 8th image. That's why number of images formed must take it as 7. With this, I can conclude the plane mirror and different cases of reflection. Let us go with some numericals. So once if you understand this basic concept. Thank you.